Okay, so here we are gathering together in this space of sovereignty, the sacred ground of sovereignty, gathering as crystal broadcasters to share and to inform one another as we are being informed. Because as one lifts, we all lift because we're in this together. We call for the energy protocol of the guardian circles and the teams involved with that protocol that surround us, hold our space, identify and remove all outsider energy in our space or coming toward us as a constant. Secured channels to our divine home, building and growing and connecting us there, filling us with that love and wholeness that is home. Surrounded with our own individual teams of transmutation, transformation, of healing. All I identify as the tag Healing Collective, extensive group. These energies are with us, these intelligences are with us, these beings and loved ones are with us. And we gather at this moment in time here on the planet, knowing that we are the sensories and the authorities for a greater team who knows how to move ourselves meaning our soul self families, our star families, and all life forms here on the planet into that reflection of that home. So we listen to that team, they listen to us. The plan is sovereignty. So I ask that the energies of Gaia, the directional energies, the elemental energies, be here holding us and directing us. That our individual teams be here with us in our space, directing us, walking with us through this time. We are one nodule in the web of life that is consciously activating that mission within the entire web. So our circle is set. We are here. And so it is. So let's place ourselves into the circle with our name, where you are on the planet, what your weather's like, if you'd like that, and a quality you want to add to this design that we call crystal space right now. And we'll do that just tagging each other around, tagging. So I'll begin. Sharon Raji Maynard, I'm on Whidbey Island. And after 2 days of snow, we now have warm, a little bit of rain. Things are melting very quickly. And I loved that I had 2 days in the snow. It really put me into that reason for cocooning and doing some inner work that was so valuable. And I am going to add, I'm just going to add clarity. And just
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to see you from the other side of the ocean. I'm in the Netherlands, in Den Haag, The Hague. It's on the west coast of the Netherlands. And today it's raining and it's 5 degrees upward. Last week we had 10 below, so it's quite a difference. And yeah, it's not Fahrenheit, it's Celsius. It's degrees Celsius, of course. And my gift for this circle is heart, my heart. Thank you. And I'm tagging Sue.
Thank you, Angelique. Hi, everybody. I'm Sue Rooney in Issaquah, Washington, in the rain. All the snow is disappearing. Now it's just a lot of mud. So this has been an interesting morning. Couple of emails last night. A link from someone who thought she was helping me. And it just triggered all kinds of things. I let it all go, and now I have clarity. And I feel like I'm really solidly in my power, and it feels so good. So the word I'm bringing is trust. And I'll call on Evie.
Well, so you were thinking the same thing I was thinking. So I'm Evie Boykin in Anacortes, Washington. And what I wanted to bring in today is trust with all my sisters, both the ones that I know, but also the ones that I don't know. So all sisters all over the world. And I will tag Sushila.
Hi, I'm Sushila Mertens from Nevada City, California. That's in the north above Sacramento. It's a beautiful rainy day, and I was thinking clarity, but I'll make my own also, another one. Clarity and support. And I will tag Kelly.
Thank you. Kelly here in Portland, Oregon. I just cleared off 5 inches of ice from my car so that later today I can traverse the roads if I so choose. I'm looking for healing in this moment, and I'm healing wounds, just healing some wounds. So that's what I want to bring into the space, healing. And Lynn, I'd like to tag you.
Thank you. I'm Lynn. I live in Des Moines, Washington, which is about 20 miles south of Seattle. And the snow is melting here. And so many words are bopping around in my head, and so many of them you chose, but I'm going to add connection to the circle. And I will tag Emma. Well, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Emma. I'm in Williamstown, Massachusetts, in the northwest corner. It has been snowy on and off all day long, and I had the great delight of going for a very long walk in the woods with my dog. And it was incredibly magical. And so I will bring magic into the circle.
I think we have everybody here. So we have clarity and heart and trust and the power of sisterhood, support, healing wounds, building connections, and magic. So we ask that that be integrated as part of the energies that will work with us each just because we are present. I wanted to share some of the things just in the last month or less, some of it just this morning or yesterday morning, that I was given. And as you listen to what I'm sharing, see what that sparks for you. Because then what I'd like to hear, not just about what I know have been given, but also what you have been given, because what it has felt like to me here in the United States as we have come to the end of the elections, there was a breath of relief, a letting go, maybe a lightness happening, which is really good. It really is good. But then when Saturday came and our news was like not going to be held accountable, I'm going like, how did that happen? How did that happen? Because it's not acceptable, And so I thought, well, I've maybe been lax in asking questions further, because I've been focused on what do you want me to bring and how does my work come together, which is valuable. It's valuable that we have those conversations with ourselves and our individual teams. But so I said, okay, guys, what I want to hear from you, what you see going on. And they said, it's not over yet. If we were to see what type of influence is there influencing Trump, and what percentage of parasitics is influencing Biden, 100%. They're there, they're being influenced. They're outpicturing it in different ways, but the influence is solidly there. You know what I mean? And that's what we know. So I said, okay, in time travel on our Wednesday morning, we do time travel. And I think that's where this came from. They said, evaluate the energy that's on the planet and around Gaia and the energy that's within humanity, just like you would if you were working on a person who comes to you for a tag session. So I'm going to show you with what it is. I showed the time travelers. I haven't shown you. So here on February 3rd, here's our galactic body of our humanity. You see, this is humanity. We are at a level 3, the highest it can get, very damaged. We've got to do all we need to do, what we're called to do. It's still important that we be involved, is what it says. And they were holding a galactic meeting in the Aquarian Council. I mean, there were beings coming all day to this meeting that was very similar to a meeting that I had been invited into in I think it was 92, 93, something like that. The Aquarian age shift again. It was the Aquarian age, happens periodically. And on that particular shift, around the planet went out the call, have a meeting in your area at the same time. And I was in Utah, so I think my time was like 5:30 a.m. And I was an assistant at a church. We called everybody together. We had this wonderful meeting. We finished the meeting an hour or so later, and the planning group said, okay, let's go out and have breakfast together because we have time before we have to go work. Let's go have breakfast and celebrate. And my team says, you can't go. You have to go home. I said, okay, we went home. They said, okay, we're taking you to a meeting. Go lay down, go in your room, which was a quiet little room. We're taking you to a meeting. And I said, really, who's going to be there? And they started naming off, Archangel Michael will be there, and Raphael will be there, and Christ will be there. And I mean, they started naming off these names. And I'm a newbie on the block. And I'm going like, you've got to be kidding me. And I was out for at least an hour or more. I do not know what happened at the meeting. I think I was there, but so it was the same thing happened on the 3rd, but I'm aware enough now that I was conscious. And it was a meeting like 1,000 times bigger than the last one. So something's afoot in the greater realm, a bigger foot. So they said, we want you to evaluate. So here's the galactic body of humanity, spiritual region, which is like 8 and 7 dimension, 6 and 5, 5 and 4, 1, 2, 3. So there's these 8 dimensions of Earth, and then the galactic worlds. How healthy are we in humanity? Galactic's pretty good. But you see how this will validate what you're seeing out there in the world. not really healthy, a little bit more, looks more healthier even than it is. So this is the numbers they gave me. And then I always ask, then what is the cause of it? Look at this. Almost on an average, I would say 82% of what's keeping us in non-health is still the presence of outsider energy. So I bring that to your attention just to say, keep up the work, just keep up the awareness. You don't have to be worried. You don't have to, all you have to do is even once in a while, say, put the guardian circle around this person or around that organization or around me. And Evie, I see your hand.
Sharon, is this new outsider energy, or is this just what's been layered? Because
Yeah.
I remember you sharing that it had been clear that new outsider energy could not be here.
That's
and
right.
That,
This is not new.
and that there was a procession, there was the movement toward outsider energy leaving.
Yeah.
But what I also want to add or reinforce, so because you're talking about humanity, is we get so very little news in the Western world about what's happening in the rest of the world, but the little inklings that we do get show that this is happening everywhere, in every country, and every single woman is having to fight for their sovereignty and their rights in a way that they've never done before. So that seems to make perfect sense with what you're saying.
Yes, it's not new. It's not new. This has been with us from the beginning, from before Earth really, but so it's been here a very, very, very long time. And if I were to say, when we started the work, we started the outsider removal work in 2000. And so if I were to, and I didn't ask this, if we said there 100% of outsiders were here in 2000, what percentage is still left of what was here? Well, let me just ask. Okay? %40 is left. So just to let you know that we do not, whatever was here in 2000, which had been here forever, only 40% of those are left. But the manifestation of that energy, just because of the law of manifestation, the energies are becoming heavier, denser, and therefore more visible. That makes sense, right? So I think it's really helpful. Thanks for the question, because 100% were here in 2000, 40% left. Cheers. So but it's just that we can't say we're finished yet. That's it. We don't have to be worried about it, but include that in whatever, in your awareness. Like you said, every woman is, the energy of a female bodysuit is under attack, and more so than before, but always has been. What do you do then? Use your bodysuit. You may not feel under attack. It's okay. Use your bodysuit as a surrogate for every female bodysuit, because we are connected. Bodysuits belong to our galactic family. On behalf of all women, I'm using my bodysuit, and I'm surrounding it with the guardian circles, and do your whatever it is you feel to do. Activate the guardian circles for sure. PTOs come in deep. Ask, is there anything more I need to do or say? And that's it. And then go about your day. But include it. Realize we're not finished. And the other thing they said is realize that what they are now doing, which they've always done, is that they're using deceptive energies. Pretty faces. So it's not say, you don't have to say, okay, Biden, or, and I'll use those names because, you know, here in the United States, we're familiar, and Angelique, you probably are too, because you're aware too, but it doesn't mean that this person is a parasitic outsider, but there are strands influencing that person, all of us to some degree. All of us to some degree. So you don't have to figure it out and go like, goodness, will I destroy him? Will I harm him? No, you'll free him, her, because the PTOs, that team from outside of our families who have kept themselves sharpened with discernment, they kept their boundaries strong because they've discerned. They can discern energies. They can decide, okay, well, here's 1 and here's 12, and they can do the work they know how to do simply because you ask. So I wanted to, and I think it's important we understand. I said, I mean, I know we need to keep it up just in whatever way we do till we're finished. And so I just said to them, how long do you think this is going to take? And they said, well, let's see where we are 4 years down the road. So I would say this year, let's go a year at a time or 6 months at a time, and don't let it be a burden, but be aware that when you're feeling vulnerable, absolutely call in energetically, even one of us in the circle to help you and be there with you, you know, because when we're vulnerable, sometimes our authority voice gets weakened. So call in whoever you feel you need to call in. There is, Gaia's Golden Dragons has worked with us extensively in the female mission of authority for the last, what would you, she was there when we first did tag 10 or 11 years ago. So she's been working with us with her Golden Dragons, like blow, you know. There is a circle of women in spirit. I don't know their name. I often don't put names because there becomes quite many. I just call them spiritual sisters. And when I go back with a client to do ancestral healing and wounds ancestrally, and we're traveling back, when we find that space that needs to be healed and then educated, always the Golden Dragons come and surround their circle, and the spiritual sisters surround their circle. So, and I want to also say something in relationship. I know you're all doing things, and I'd love to hear whatever you might want to share. But you know, Kelly, oh boy, Kelly's working with Jeremy White in the Northern Shamanic path. You know, what is your heritage? I didn't know what my heritage was, but I knew it was Celtic, England, Scandinavia. And it seemed like it was time for me to understand that better. And so I'm involved with just the initiation, just the first 8 weeks. And what I've learned from that is understanding what it is that it's almost like, was this information in my bones? I saw it, I've seen it in the Hermetic traditions. I've seen it in the Egyptian traditions, you know, I've seen it in those, but now here it is coming closer to me in this life through the Celtic traditions. And what I did, knowing about dragons, and I'd fly with dragons, for example, what I knew about them, I just didn't value what it meant. So I would suggest we start valuing what it is we're getting. We may not have the connection, but valuing and honoring what you're getting and where you're getting it from. So I think that's really what I wanted to share, is that awareness that we're not done yet. We've done a lot, which says we can still do even more. What we're doing is effective. We are, the PTO team, we're constantly saying, is there different methods we need to, if we have to go into this, does it have to change? So we're always, between the team and I, we're always putting together anything additional that needs to be done, because it's we're now having to go into the negative dimensions, into the what I guess some might call the underworld, but it's not that, it's way deep, to bring back some of our kidnapped ones. So there's a lot that's always being done, adding to the simple command Deep Six, PTO Deep Six. And what's also helpful in that is if there's anything that you're running into, and you go like, whoa, that's not working. Let me know. Because I said, how extensive is this team? Because I'm teaching the galactic landscape, the land of stars, the land of our stars, the land of our beginning. And I'm going to share all that I've been given, which is I've never done before, but I feel like we're going to be building new forms. We have to have our landscape. We have to have the laws, the rules, the intentions, etc. So one of the questions I asked this morning as I'm sitting with this, coming up, and Thursday begins our first class, where do these, how extensive is our teams? And they said, we are galactic. We extend not just in the Sirians, the Plutonians, the Octurians, the Ascended Masters, the Archangels. Those are part of it, but we are beyond that. We are beyond that. So we're doing good work. The other thing I asked them, I said, okay, we've still got we're still in this plan. And so what is it? Is there more that we need to do? And they pointed out, you have the crystal broadcasters broadcasting firm visions, either for today or future, or even backward in time, the ability to imagine firm outcome. You have that. You have the time travelers who meet on Wednesday morning, and they will go in and be shown where we need to reframe, prevent the insertion of an idea, add a new idea. You have that. And you have the guardian circle going on Saturday morning that meets to absolutely encase the new growth, because the new growth is coming. Encase the new growth, to surround what is already built, this outsider that needs to be dissolved away. You have that. They said, let them know we are not finished. They are still so valuable. So therefore, my reach out to you. So I think I'm complete with what what I felt I wanted to bring to the table, and what I was told to bring to the table. And with that, I'm just going to open it up, and just whatever, if there's something that evokes for you that you want to add, it's yours. And we'll just do it popcorn style. And we'll just, if you want to say something, unmute, and we're here to hear it.
So it was perhaps a couple of years ago that you started an emphasis on emphasizing the gazelles. And I'm putting my energy toward those efforts I see that are gazelle-like and positive. I would say I don't know enough about what those are, and I would like to be able to broadcast those as well. So instead of just putting all my focus on getting rid of outsiders, to shore up all those things that we're all doing collectively and individually that have real promise and that are really making a difference. So that's what I want to say.
And the truth of it is, Evie, that's definitely what they said. In fact, they said we've really shifted a corner so that if we could feel comfortable saying like 10% on the outsiders, 90% on the new. The gazelles is what we call the new. It came from a quote in the 60s. It says, I'm going to start focusing on the dinosaurs, the old, and instead I'm going to focus on the new, on the gazelles. And maybe it would be helpful, I don't know, how much any of us are still on Facebook, not a lot, but a little bit, because I do have a Facebook page called Gazelles in the Phoenix. The gazelles are those things that are growing, that are new. They're new ideas, they're new projects, they're individuals, etc. And it might be they're fundraising for it, or we want to make them each other aware of it. And the Phoenix came from, again, my tag group, which is Lynn and Evie and Sue were there. When we were asked to activate the codes in all of the structures, such as Stonehenge, the Egyptian pyramids, the Bosnian pyramids, they said all of those sacred sites were not just for that time they were created, that they had codes imprinted in those sites that if need be, if we got this bad, in other words, if need be, there were codes to be activated to support the shift and the change. And that's why the Facebook page is called Gazelles in the Phoenix. And so you bring that up, and I think that's really good. And they did say, you are doing both, but realize you can really focus more even on the excitement of being here, the good of being here. Just don't let go of this focus, maybe 10% of the time. So that would be one way we could share, Evie. We could try it, and if that's not enough, we could figure out something else, but that might be enough. Just check in once in a while on Facebook.
I'm wondering, Sharon, too, you recently, I think the last few months, you haven't been sending out glyphs and reality statements for the crystal broadcasting. And I'm wondering if that is on purpose, in that you want us each to focus on what's calling us more than focusing on one thing, or what am I missing here?
I missed 1 month, I think, but I think I missed maybe January, but one did go out for February, and it was a really big one. It was really an important one. So if you're not getting them, but I did miss January, but I think I've only missed 1 month. So no, just know that that's going to continue happening.
Okay. Well, I didn't see February, so I'm gonna have to go back and look and see if I missed it somehow. So
yeah, and I'll make a note. I can resend it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Can I add? I'd like to add, I should say. You talk about the sacred sites and everything else, but I think it's really important that we're working with the trees. Like the trees right now are like hugely critical, and they contain, these ancient sites have so much, but the trees have like the original knowledge, right? The original knowledge. And I keep on being pulled into the trees, and like my head keeps on going into a tree. It's like, okay, do I have to go into that tree too? Yeah, you got to go into that tree too. And there seems to be a lot of work there, because they're also transmitters for us. So I just wanted to place that. The other thing I'd like to place is that what I'm finding is that and Sharon's been helping me work through some obstacles here, is that I'm getting blocked by things. And I'm having even major individuals represent outsider energy that are like right in front of me. And it's like, oh my gosh, what is this here? What is this here? This is like, it seems like the I don't know, it just seems like I'm at this precipice of this step and I keep on getting these little thorns or things that come up, and I'm like, oh, here you are again, and here you are again, and here you are again. God, every other language piece of words I could use. But I'm curious, I'm trying to do it. That's why I brought in the word healing. I'm trying to do it with grace and ease. I really am, but I'm getting really miffed. And I'm trying to hold compassion for some of these individuals that are being influenced. Not to say that I'm clear. I know that I'm not clear. I have my own things that I'm working with. But how do I do it with compassion, Sharon? Right now, I'm feeling like I have no compassion because there's a few people that I'm like, oh my gosh, you're another block, you're another block. And I'm like trying to honor their wounds that are so deep and so profound. But at the same point, I'm like, you need to get out of my way. Does that make sense? I feel like, so that's why I'm bringing in that healing thing, is because I'm trying to be kind and point people and try to bring back the mirror and peel back the layers, not for myself too. There's things that I, need to look at, but I'm really struggling in finding that place of wanting to be nice about it, where they're human, right? They're human. They have wounds, but I'm like, get out of my way. You're in my way. I'm being really, but that's where I'm at right in this very moment.
Evie, I see you shaking your head. Is there anything you want to say first?
We'll just reflect on separating the person, their unique soul, from what has kind of captured their energy and pulled them away from what is really authentically them. So, and I get triggered often with family, so I try to back and look back and say, okay, what are the outside things that are perverting who this person is? And that's where I can find compassion. And yet at the same time, I want to honor your anger. Mm-hmm. And it is so common for women to say, we have to do it in a nice way, and we have to preserve the relationship. I'm getting hot under the collar just talking about that. And I don't know that that's always appropriate to do that.
And I appreciate you saying that, because I'm at that in a particular situation. I'm like, I've tried for months to be kind and courteous and helpful, but I'm at the point where I'm on my last string. So I thought this is actually quite timely for me, because I can go back in and say, let's try this one more time from a different approach and see where I can go. But anger does serve its purpose at times, right? It does, and frustration it too, but I'm trying to channel it in the right way. So thank you for the feedback.
There's an element of zero tolerance for parasitics that is really critical, that we've lost that zero tolerance. And so what that looks like in a city, that the city here in Seattle has decided to be tolerant of those who are damaged, who are mostly drugged, mentally unwell. And so instead of taking their behavior that is damaging stores, hurting individuals, robbing, etc., to survive with it, needing their drugs, instead of the city saying we have zero tolerance for harm of others, they are saying, well, that's how they have to live, so that they're not responsible. So we cannot do, and instead of saying, okay, they need help, let's create a really solid, good place for them to get help, they just keep cycling them to the police station, back on the street, to the police station, back on the street. And what is happening in Seattle and in many other cities is that energy, which is outsider energy, is taking over the city and destroying businesses, destroying the good for other people. And there is a name for it. I think it's called the paradox of tolerance. And and it's a philosophical thing. And someone told me about it when I was in the hospital doing an interview, on a live interview with a woman, and he was an orderly, and he said, "Oh, that sounds like," we were talking about outsiders, and he said, "Have you heard of the paradox of tolerance? That whatever it is you are tolerant of will take over and become the environment." And I went, "That's so true." So you have to decide. You have so much currency, we call energy, and you can spend that currency, this is your currency, in any way you choose. And most of us have not been conscious about how we spend our currency, our energy. We pay attention to how we spend our dollars, but we don't pay attention to our currency, our true currency, which is energy. So you may be the kind of person that's really sensitive, and you can feel other people's energy, pain, and etc. So there has been that assumption in a female psyche that says you're here to serve and make sure everybody's okay. Serve and make sure everybody's okay. And if you're an empath, you can't do anything else. I mean, you're just caught up in the energy all the time. But what's left out of it is your choice. How do you want to spend your gift? So if your career, if your major time of life, Kelly, and I'm using you, but it's for all of us, if you have this ability and people come to you, and how are you going to spend the time to helping others? It's up to you. And if you want to spend time counseling, especially those who are in victim mode, you can do that. There's no end to it. But make it a choice. And if you have the sensitivity, the same sensitivity that could be used to create beautiful imagination, meditation tapes, support people, you could spend it there. Where do you want to spend your energy? And I can tell you from personal experience that there have been some times for me through the last many years that I have had to spend hours, literally hours, staying with a commitment to, are you of my light, throughout a day or a night. I mean, I know what it's like to struggle with the angel. I know what it's like to struggle with that dark angel that says, we're taking you under. And there are times that could happen, you know? So it's not, if you're choosing to make a career of helping someone who is in pain, then decide what kind of person do you want to work with. Do you want to work with somebody who's ready to be self-accountable, responsible, take on the skill building? If that's your career, then decide who you want to work with. I do not work with victims. You know, and people who are really, really beginners are often in that victim mode, and they keep cycling. I don't work with them. I've got not enough energy to do that. I work with people who are accountable, self-responsible, wanting to build their life and then build a forest outside their life. So it's not compassionate for you to have somebody else dictate to you a spin of your energy. And you know, that sword of Michael, I'm going to show you this one thing, because the sword has really been big for me in the last little while. And so there's the sword. You see the sword? So this new thing is galactic and Gaia. That's where our purpose is. And there's the sword, and the sword is the sword of Sophia, of discernment. And I'm going like, I don't know, I don't feel. So I thought, well, maybe I need to start cutting cords. And they said, what happens if you cut cords? Well, you lose the connection to what needs to be removed, and you leave a part of it embedded in you. The sword is a sharp sword, but it goes heavenward and say, this is what is and what is not allowed in my space. So I think it's totally, totally appropriate to be zero tolerance. And yes, here I'm going to give you this chance. And then it's like, okay, bless you, turn you over to a guardian circle, keep you there, keep you there, keep you there. Bless you. May doors open for your highest good. It's not me. Is that helpful?
Thank you.
Angelique, I see your hand.
Yeah, thank you. I hear this, of course, because I'm in a certain situation, but it's not with a client this time, but with my mom. And she is passing over. She's on her last journey and she is becoming demented and really severe. And she's very malicious. And there's a lot of outsider energy in her, but it's always been like that. But it shows even more now. So there is some, yeah, what can I say? It's like it's an inner conflict. Like, okay, it's my mom. I don't want to leave her this way. I want to do all the best for her as what I can, but I also have to take care of my own boundaries. And yeah, it's like I know that I have to not be so close to her all the time because she's eating me somehow. I'm not prepared for that, because when I open my heart and I give, she is immediately there to take, you know, and it's a totally different energy. And this is where I've been lately over the past weeks. And I reached a point that I said, okay, this is not good for me. I really have to stop. I really have to stop going there. And then I go only once or twice a week, and that's okay. That I can manage, but not every day. It's impossible. It's really, really not acceptable, and it's impossible. But then who is going to do it, you know? Because I'm the only one who can and who's available. So this is quite a problem. Yeah. So, and I don't want to put it on your lap. I only want to share, and also that I recognize exactly what Kelly is sharing. And that it's really consuming. It's consuming energy.
You know, even when I'm working with clients who are, you know, they're doing their work, I've had to learn how to stop being connected all the time, you know, to them. And I had to realize that, wait a minute, you are the speaker to activate, let it go, disconnect, and turn it over to us. Stop holding the thread. You give us the, you know, when I'm talking us, I'm talking about, she has a team in spirit with her all the time, whether she knows it or not. She'll never ask for them to activate. You do. Every time you do a guardian circle, you activate her team, whatever doors open for her. And then turning, you know, one powerful sentence that might be helpful is a sentence that's something like this: I forgive you. All the hurts, real or imagined, I've suffered from you in this or any lifetime.
Yeah.
And I place you in the hands of divine love.
Yeah.
And ask that you be moved to your next highest and best place. And then you've got to be able to, when that tug comes, see where it is within you to disconnect it so that the energy of her highest and best good is free to move her without you deciding how it looks. So that when you show up to her, at her place physically once or twice a week, you are in your hazmat suit, you're in total love because you are cocooned in the guardian circle. It has grace there. And you have that clear boundary that she cannot get past. And the best you can do for her is keep activating the removal of the outsiders, removal of the negative patterns, just the guardian circle. That's the highest thing you can do for her, because you can speak it, but you don't even have to be energetically that close I mean, you've got to keep your own boundary there, but
Mm.
when we place those we love, or those we're working with in our, if you're doing healing work, you do what it is you activate what it is you feel to activate. You're the voice. And then you turn it over to their team and say, she is now in your hands.
Mhm.
And whatever is highest and best for her, open the doors for that to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing that exactly, but it's not only the energetical part, it's most
Yeah.
of all the practical part.
Yeah.
The things she does which are really dangerous and where I have to really, like a juggler keeping all the balls up to keep her safe and to keep her, these things are really different. It's a different kind. That's where I get stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about opening the doors for your highest good in interacting with her, where, see if there's other options that you don't see because you're seeing this way. Start looking around. Where's the other options? Doors are opening to help me, and see how that does too.
Yeah.
And
Right.
again, there are some times that we're going through a crisis awareness walk, and we have to just, call in whatever we need to call in to keep us upright during those times.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed when I get back to the outsiders, Kelly, is that they are layered, and they are very layered deep. But if one component gone, cannot come back. So it's, it might feel like the same, but it's another layer, another group. So again, as many layers, how many layers can we take out? PTO, how many layers can you take out? Take them all out. How many? Okay, there's another component here. How many can we take out? And and it's we're still there. But again, their suggestion is that we really do start really spending our time on that which is the gazelles, which brings us joy, which we want to create, that which we want to support. But then like 10%, when we have 10%, and if it sometimes it's 20, then sometimes it's 20. But start really building in what, like the walk in the woods Emma talked about. Man, was that fun? That would be, you see. Okay.
Can I add to that, Sharon?
Yeah, absolutely, Sue.
This last year, because of COVID and everything it has stirred up, has been an amazing year, because what it's teaching me is it triggers the past
Mhm.
and it keeps triggering it for me to see it and let it go.
Yeah.
And today was just such a powerful morning, that the more I heal myself, which is layers, and I don't know if they're just layers for this year, I mean, layers for this life, or if they're overlapping layers of other lives, I really don't care. They're layers, and I need to heal them. And the more I heal them, the stronger I am in my sovereign power. And the stronger my sovereign power, the better healer that I am, or better, my work has more effect. So from what I'm finding is that words have a lot of power for me, or they have none. And I can hear 20 different words and they'll have absolutely no power for me and mean nothing to me. But I can tell that it means something to you, and has a power for someone else. I have to put words to my process so I can connect to it in a powerful way. And then when I am working with energy and I'm taking the energy of greed and hate and power over, I can take it as an energy and put it in my word for all our teams. You guys have so many teams. There is no way I'm going to keep track of them. And I am not going to make a list of 20 different teams. So I just have it in one or two or three words. And then I'll just call it the team. But I have it in an image and I have it in a word that creates a power for me when I add the greed, the hate, the power over the terror people feel that they're losing their freedoms. Not individuals, just that consciousness of those energies, and put it in there. That is working for me, and it's literally finding the words and the image that work. So these issues that we are split over, where do we wear a mask or don't wear a mask? Do we get a vaccine or we don't get a vaccine? If I'm creating my own reality, I need to create it according to my heart, my soul, my intuition, my guidance. And when I'm solidly aligned with those, I know I'm okay. Whether I do this or whether I do that, I'm okay. But this morning, I cut off someone that I did a year ago because she became a victim again. And I can't save her. And she's pulling me down and she's draining my energy. And I'm trying to save her. And I sent her a message and I said, today's appointment's not, isn't going to work for me. And I'm suggesting you spend the next month and get back on track. And when you get back on track, call me and we will set an appointment. But she robs my energy. When she becomes a victim, I cannot help her. I cannot save her. And I'm investing energy that she's just sucking up. So I am learning when to say no. And that's empowering. I get all my energy back. It's amazing. So it to me is absolutely critical as a light workers to find what works and what doesn't. And when something stops working, reevaluate it, because it may no longer be a part of my process. I just let it go, or I just re-image it or reword it. But I have to stick with what works, because then I'm empowered and then my work is more effective. And I'm not causing harm to anybody around me. It's been an amazing year, but it's sure been hard. It's been hard and painful.
Yeah, that's well said, Sue. It's well said. So what we're going to do is because we have 30 minutes left. And I think it's really, really important to take advantage of being together, being here with a larger group of those who are beyond our sight, to each one of us in our own way, hear what they have to say to us, ask any questions of them, in whatever way you do, to interact with, with this, with maybe what we've talked about, or what's on your heart, or what you're being drawn to, that this be your time. Okay, so that when we leave here at 3:30, you'll walk away with a fractal. This is the information. This is the symbol. And that information is all encoded in the symbol. Put it in your pocket. And then here's another connection for your guidance through at least the next week till we meet again. So let's make it that kind of meditation. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. So we probably won't share at the other end of it. If we do, if that's an option, if we want to, but we probably won't. We definitely wouldn't record it anyway. So, okay. We always turn off our camera. I like that, turning off our cameras, and then we come back, we can turn them back on. So we gather together in this circle, prepared and set for our guidance, for our nourishment, for our greater understanding. And in your imagination, which is a powerful, powerful place to be, in your imagination, see what opens for you, your place with those who are your team that are in the unseen. They have been here with us. They have spoken through all of us. They are touching your heart. They hold your hands. They know you. And they are connected to a network of intelligence, of magnificence beyond any one point of light. And see that network light up. And because this is your space and your time, be in a space that is so nurturing to you, so stable and loving for you. Whether that's in the forest, whether that's in a classroom, whether that's in easy chairs having coffee, wherever that is. This is your space and your time. And you invite them to be there. And get a sense of the touch that they have on your skin. You're holding your hand or touching your hair, putting their arms around you. And let yourself open your heart to them so you can feel from them what they hold about you. And these beings with you may take the form of animals or people or nature diva. They know what you are struggling with, what you are questioning, what you are excited about. And they have something for you. So know that you are totally held. You are cocooned in the guardian circle. You are on the platform of the sacred ground. You are even in this physical circle of women who love you. So be with them. I'll call you back in 5 minutes or so. If you are complete, sooner do. But come back with some symbol from them that contains all of that information, blessing, and wisdom. And we will see you in just a short while.